Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi and welcome back to my channel Fun with Data Science. So today we are going to cover different topics. The first topic would be how to get started with Python, then would come the operators, followed by types of error, keywords and identifiers, data types, string slicing, string functions, list, tuple, and dictionaries. So basically, these all are the topics which we are going to today, which we are going to cover today in our video. So basically, firstly, let's move with how to get started with Python. Let's know a little bit that who invented Python and how we should learn Python and what are the some important things which we should keep in mind with learning Python. So let's move forward and discuss the today's agenda for learning Python. So firstly, we are going to see the father of Python, then when was Python invented, what is Python, features of Python. Now moving towards the father of Python, I have written that Guido van Rossum, he was born on 31st of January in 1956 and is a Dutch programmer best known as the creator of the Python programming language, for which he was the BDFL until he stepped out from the position in July 2018. So the main thing which you need to keep in mind here is that who is the father of Python. So basically the father of Python is Guido van Rossum. I guess that it's a little bit more darker. Let me erase and make it a little bit of thin size because it is covering the whole name. So it is written that the Guido van Rossum was the father of Python and he invented Python. I think this must be clear to you. Now moving next, what we are going to learn is that when was Python invented? I told you Python was created in the late 1980s and it was available to us in 1991 and the version of Python 2.0 which was released in 2000 and followed by many Python and presently I guess 3.8 is running. Now, what are the features of Python? Why we are dealing with Python? Why we are learning Python? So basically the features of Python is that it is simple and easy to learn. Why simple and easy to learn? Because it has a very small syntax. All the things which are there in Python, they are covered. And like take an example for swapping two numbers. Have you ever seen a program for swapping two numbers in Python and in C or C++? There's a lot of difference between these two. We will discuss the swapping program in today's lecture only. I guess in operators or somewhere we will discuss that. Then we will see about that. After that, Python is a platform independent language. Then it is a very case sensitive language. It is a case sensitive language. We will verify these things in the topic types of errors which we will cover. And then it is an interpreted language, concise code, free and open source. So basically ignore one O here, it's mistaken. Okay, so basically concise code is written. Concise codes means a small code, a code which doesn't have too many lines. I mean do not have a many and a very long code. So that is the main meaning of concise code and we will see this today in our lecture only. Now moving towards our topic, that is operators. So we are going to discuss the different types of operators and what are the different types of operators and what are the things that there are in. Basically types of operators. Now there are 7 types of operators: arithmetic, assignment, comparison, logical, bitwise, identity and membership. Remember these things and keep these things in mind that there are total 7 types of operators. Firstly, we are going to see them in a theoretical way and after that we will see that in a practical way. So for arithmetic operators, we have operators like plus, minus, multiplication, division, modulus, quotient, exponent. So basically these are the operators which are and which come under the arithmetic operators, and these all are the basic operators which you all must be familiar with. We all have studied this in our earlier classes in addition, subtraction, multiplication we are already taught in our first second classes, and nowadays the students are taught in their PG classes too about this. So these are the basic which we have already studied in our earlier classes, need not to mention a lot about here. Now next we come with just a second. Next we come with the assignment operators. So what are assignment operators? Assignment operators contains equal to, equal, plus equal to, minus equal to, multiplication equal to, divide equal to. So basically understand one thing here. Okay, I'm writing it here that if something is written like num and it is written like num plus equal to 1. So basically what does this expression means? So this expression which I have written is same as this expression that num is equal to num plus 1. Here one thing is written that argumented shortcut. So if you see somewhere num plus is equal to 1 written like this, so it means that num is equal to num plus 1. It is the short form to write this num is equal to num plus 1. Keep this thing in mind. And one more thing here, that you need to give a gap, like you need to write it num plus and equal to should be same. I mean that plus and equal between plus and equal there should be no gap, and these two should be with each other only. Do you understand that thing? Okay. So after that we have multiplication, division and all that things, and these all are written in the same way only. These are the shortcuts to write these. Okay. Okay, so these are the shortcuts. Fine. Now let's take a practical example for that. So what here I have written is that, just a second. Okay, so let's take an example for the operators. Now, example for arithmetic operators. What I have taken here is A is equal to B and A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20. Done, and after that I have written A into B. Now let's run this and check out that are we okay. Just a second, let me write it. Oh, wait a minute. Print. Okay, so now let's run it and check that we have get the output as 200. So this is the arithmetic operator, as I have told you that arithmetic operators are the plus, minus, multiplication, division, modulus and all that things. So what I have done here is that I have taken A is equal to 10. I have given a value A which is 10 and I have given a value to B that is 20. After that I have taken another variable that's C and I have assigned A multiplication by B, and after that I have printed C. So here what the thing is going on is that we have to do C is equal to A multiplied by B. So whenever 10 is multiplied with 200, we always get an output as 200. So that is what the output we are getting here. So I hope you got the point that what are the arithmetic operators. Now let's change this and let's have our addition sign here, and now let's run this. So we will get the output as 30. It is a very simple thing we all must be knowing, but the main thing which I want to tell you here is that the use of the operators, that how do we use operators in Python programming language. So I hope this must be clear to you, and after that you can check all these things on your own, all the operators and other things. Now what we are going to say about the assignment operators. So as I have told you that here the assignment operators are plus equal to, minus equal to, multiply equal to, divide equal to, modulus equal to and all that. So here what I have done is that I have taken a variable named as A which is equal to 11, and after that A plus is equal to 1. Now I have told you earlier also that whenever you see that A plus is written, you need to understand that A plus is equal to A plus 1. Let me explain you with an example here. Just a second, let me take a pen color. Okay, so whenever you find written A plus is equal to 1, so what does this mean is that A is equal to A plus 1. As I have told you, it is a shortcut. Same here, whenever it is written A minus is equal to 1, so it means that A is equal to A minus 1, and it is followed by all the examples like for the multiplication, division, modulus and all that things. It is followed by all. So I hope you got the point that what is the shortcut to write this. Okay, keep this thing in mind and don't ever forget to give and to disturb any space. I mean that you should not give any space between plus and equal to. If you do so, you will get an error. Okay, now let's move to the PyCharm IDE. Now what I have done, that I have written A is equal to 11. I have assigned the value 11 to A, and then A is equal to A plus 1 and then print A. Now let's check. We will get an output as 12. Okay, so it is here and it's the simplest thing. We all know all these things. So here we have seen the examples of arithmetic and assignment operators, that how these assignment operators work. Now let's change it to minus, and then again let's run the code, and now we get the output as 10. It's okay. Now I hope you got the idea for these two operators and what are these operators and how do we follow these operators. Fine. Okay, now let me again comment it out. And now let's move to the comparison operators. Now let's move to our slide. Okay, next, just a second. Let me close this. Okay, done. Now what are comparison operators? So comparison operators is that, as you are understanding with the name only, to compare anything. Now we have already learned about the less than signs, equal to, double, equal to. So these are only known as a comparison operator. So now let's list them out. That double, equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, and less than or equal to. So basically these are the operators which are there in comparison operators. Now why are we learning these things? What is the use of these headings? So we should know that the operator which you are using is of which type. It is an arithmetic operator, bitwise operator, logical, comparison, or which type of operator you are using in your particular program. So the names, you should remember these names, and you should remember the thing that inside what type of operator which operators lie. Okay, so here we have read these operators equal to. Now let me give you an example that I have written two numbers. I have assigned two numbers. I have written A is equal to 2 and B is equal to 4. Now leave the condition, leave anything if else things. If in general mathematics I say that A is less than B. So yeah, what is this less than symbol? This is the comparison operator which we are studying here for the Python. Now I have written this in the simple mathematical tool which we use mathematics, but when it comes to the programming we use some conditions for if and else, elif conditions. So that are the secondary thing. What I wanted to tell you is that the use of this operator, comparison operator. Now here it is true that yes, 2 is less than 4. So yeah, we will get the output whatever we are going to enter here. So I hope you got the idea that what are comparison operators, and equal to when two numbers are equal. If I assign A is equal to 1 and B is also equal to 1. So when I will compare these two, so yeah, it will say yes, these two variables and these two numbers are equal, so they are equal. Okay, not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Clear? Now it must be clear to you about the comparison operator. Now let's go to PyCharm IDE and see that what are the example which we are going to see. So what I have done here is that I have taken a variable as P is equal to 70 and after that Q is equal to 70. Now what I am going to do here is I have written, just a second, okay, I have written if P is equal to Q, print these are equal, else print they are not equal. So what I am going to do here is that I have used this comparison operator equal to, which means that if P and Q, I mean the numbers which we have stored in the variables P and Q are equal, then print me and give me the output as these are equal. Otherwise, print me that they are not equal. Now let's run this once and now we have the output that these are equal, and yeah, it is true that 70 is equal to 70. So I hope you got the idea for the comparison operator. Now let's change a value once, and what I have done here is that I have assigned the P value as same 70 and for Q I am assigning the value as 100. Now I am here going to write if P is less than Q, print. Okay, so let me change it here that print P is greater, or no, here I should write Q is greater. Okay, and here what I will write is that P is greater. I hope you got that point, that if P is less than Q, print Q is greater, else print P is greater. Now let me run this and we will get output as Q is greater, because here what we have done is that, let me put it down a little bit. Okay, so what we have seen here is that P, we have given the value P as 70 and we have given the value to Q as 100. Now, yeah, it is true that yes, 70 is less than 100. So we are getting the output here as print q is greater. And now if I change the symbol and if I do it like this, here we will get the output as p is greater. Now see it, just let me zoom it once a second. Okay, so I am getting here output as p is greater. I hope you got the point about the comparison operators, that what are comparison operators and how do we use them in our Python programming. Now next comes our logical operators. Next, just a second, let me close this. Okay, now we are here with the logical operators. Logical operators are or, and not operators. So basically, this or, and not, these three are the logical operators. And now let's move to result, that if x is false, then y is x. Okay, so here let me tell you that the or operator, which is here, it works like the multiplication. No, it is the addition operator. Add. Or means to add. Add means if we are using or I mean if we are using or operator anywhere, it means if either of the conditions is true, it will go inside that loop and print whatever the output is there. And when we are using and, both the conditions should be true, otherwise it will not give us any of the output. Now let's read that whatever here is written in the notes for or, that y is executed only if x is false, else if x is true, x is result. Okay, leave this. This is all a little bit of mess up which is written here. Let's go to an example and check it out. So here, what I have told you is, remember this thing in mind, that or is the addition and or is the addition and uh, and is the multiplication. Now let's what we are going to do here is that I have taken an variable a and assigned it as value of 10, and other I have taken a variable b and assigned it a value of 20. Now I have written here is that print a or b is a. I have used the symbol, and this symbol is basically for or operator. I hope this single dash line which you are seeing here is that the or operator which we use in Python. We do not write or and here. We use these operators. Now let's run this once and see what I have got in output is that a or b is 30. So this is the thing which I was telling you, that or operators behaves like an addition operator. I have told you that or is and. Let's go to that slide once more and see that. Okay, so I have already written that or is add. Okay, so or means to add two things. So here what we are doing is here that I have written a is equal to 10, b is equal to 20, print a or b is, and I have used the or symbol here. Now what I get the output is that a or b is 30. Now clear? So this is the use of or operator. And if I use and operator here, so what I have told you about the and, that it is the multiplication. Just a second, let me change this. Okay, let's take the and example forward afterwards. Here it will not give us the output because this is not right the syntax for using the and operator. Okay, now here what we are going to do is that, okay, I have told you about the or operators. Clear? Now here next go to our slide once more, and okay, now let's move forward and we are here to see the bitwise operators. So bitwise and, there are 6 types of bitwise operators: bitwise and, bitwise or, XOR, NOT, left shift and right shift. So let me check that have I taken an example for bitwise operator here or not, because we are going to cover this in a separate video. Okay, so I have not taken the example of bitwise because we are going to take a separate video for this, and because these are the something you can say important operators, so that's why only. Let me close this and let's move. Now here we are going to deal with the identity operators and membership operators. So what is an identity operator and membership operator? Now listen the things, there are very minor difference between these two operators. So in identity operator, the operator is and is not. Okay, and okay, let's first discuss about the identity. So description is that returns true if both variables are the same object. If x is y and x is not y, let me tell you with an example that here we have taken x as a variable and assigned the value as 10. Now what next I have done is that I have assigned the value of x to z. Okay. Now let me remove this. Okay. Now what we are going to do is I have run and I had got the output as true. Now true why? Because x is equal to 10. Clear? I have assigned the value of x to z. So that means that z is also equal to 10. And after that I have printed that if I have printed that x is z. So yes, x is z because x and z both are the same components and both are having the same values. And I have used the equal sign here. So I have written x is z and I got the output as true. And yes, the condition is true. Okay. So this is the main thing. And now what I am going to do here is x is not z. Now let's run this and I have got the output as false. Why I have got the output as false? Why? Because we have seen earlier that I have assigned the value of z to x. Clear? I have done that. So in x also there is a value of 10 and in z also there is value of 10 and it is saying that x is not z. But this is false because x is z. Okay, so I hope this must be clear to you. Now pay a little bit more attention towards this because these are the little different and difficult operators to deal with. Now we have done the identity operator. Next, let's move on to the... Okay, just a second. Let me comment this out. Okay, now let's move to the membership operators, which are the last of our operators. Then we will move to types of errors. Okay, so membership, let me close this. Now next we have the membership operator. So membership is that in and not in. In the identity we have studied is and is not, and in the membership we are going to see in and not in. Okay, so 5 in x, 5 not in x. So this are the membership operators and these are the examples. Now let's check it with an example that okay. What I have written is that I have written x is equal to apple. I have assigned a string to x. Now, what is the denotation of now what is the denotation that we have applied and we have sent a string to a variable. Now, when we see that what is the string, now the thing which we see and we get to know that we have given a string is that the upper semicolons. Whenever anything is written in the semicolons, we deal it as an string, and whenever anything is not written in these semicolons, we deal it as an integer value, that is numbers. So if you write semicolons and inside that semicolons you write 6, so that will also act as an string. That's not the thing that inside you have written 6, so it will deal with a number. No, it's not like that. Anything, any symbol, anything, no, not the symbol, any number or any alphabets, any sentence you have written inside the strings that are string. Okay, inside the semicolons that are strings. Now what I have done is that I have assigned a string that is apple to x, and after that what I am printing is that print apple in x. So yes, we are running and we will get the output as true. Yeah, because apple is in x. We have assigned the value of x as apple. We have given the value, we have assigned the string x. As we have assigned the string apple to x, and in print statement we are writing apple in x. So it is saying that yeah, is apple is in x. So we are getting the output as true. And here if I write if not just a second, not in x, then I will get the output as false because this condition is false, because we have assigned the value, we have assigned the string to x, and it is saying that apple is not in x. So this is a false statement. Apple is in x, it is the true statement. So I hope you got a clear idea about the operators, that what are the different types of operators, and we have seen all the almost the examples, and the rest you need to try on your own. Okay, now next comes the topic of types of error. Let's move to our next slide for types of error. And here I will tell you that which types of error are there and how to deal with the simple types of errors. Just a second. Okay, so with let's see this with an program only. So what I am doing here, let me zoom it a little. Okay, so there are three types of error: logical, syntax, and runtime errors. So what are logical errors? So logical errors are a type of error in which your code will run and will not get an error in compiling, but will not get the desired output. So it is a type of error in which you have made some logic error. Like if you want to multiply two numbers, you are giving that a multiplied by b. So you want to multiply any two numbers, and in the thing in the code you have written a plus b. So you will not get any error there. It is not that you will see a syntax error or a runtime error or a logical error. It is not like that, but you will not get the desired output because you wanted a multiplication of these two numbers and you have given the addition of that two numbers. So I hope this must be clear to you about the logical errors, that these are the errors in which you will not get any type of error in compiling, but you will not get the desired output because of the wrong logic which you have used in your code. Now next comes the syntax error. Now syntax error, what are these errors? Are like missing punctuation error, missing a bracket, missing close parenthesis, etc. Syntax error. You all must be familiar that every language has its own syntax. C has its own, C++ has its own, Java, Python, every language has its own syntax. So here are some errors which happen due to syntax, that you are writing anything and you missed the semicolons, you missed a colon, you missed a sign, you missed a comma. So these all are the things which come under syntactical errors, and these errors are like missing punctuation error, missing brackets, and all that things. We are going to see all these things in our code only. First, let's have a difference between all the three. Now our next and the last is runtime error. So these errors are such as dividing a number by 0, taking a square root of a negative number. So when you divide a number by 0, would you get any output? No. Why? Because it is an error. It is a runtime error. You have given something wrong here. You are going to take a square root of negative number. Will it work? No, it won't work because it is wrong. So these types of error come under the runtime error. So here now I have differentiated between the three errors: logical, syntax, and runtime error. Now let's see that what are the things we are going to do here. Okay, so basically this is the PyCharm ID, and in PyCharm it is a very easy that if you have done any error, if you have done any mistake, it always shows this red line. So it is a little bit of benefit here, but what I'm trying to tell you here is that what are the basic errors which you face, and these are the very common errors which you can't rectify very easily. So what I have done here is that I have written a print statement coding for beginners in easy step. And now I have put one semicolon here and I have missed that semicolon. I have not closed the sentence. So this is a type of a error. So it will show you error. Let me run it. So you are getting a syntax error that end of line while scanning string literal. So basically it is saying that you have not entered a semicolon here. You have not closed the sentence using a semicolon. So as I have told you, it is a syntax error. Okay. So basically this was the syntax of writing this sentence and you have missed that. Now let me close it, and yeah, you will get the output as coding for beginners in easy step. Clear? Okay. Now we are going to see our next example. Let me first comment it out. Now here what I have done is that I have assigned the value 2 to A and assigned the value 4 to B. Okay. So now here I have used the if-else conditions in Python. We will discuss about the if-else in brief afterwards, in detail afterwards, but let me give you an example for the error here, that I have declared two variables here, that is A and B, and I have assigned the values 2 and 4. I have done the conditions: if A is greater than B, print A, else print B. Now in PyCharm you are seeing a red line here. It means you have missed something here and the main error is here only. So yeah, by the time I think you have rectified the error, that yes, you have missed a semicolon here. But let's run and check that which type of error we are getting. So once again, we are getting a syntax error here. It is saying that invalid syntax, and after else, it is showing a up arrow. So basically, this is the thing that you have missed a semicolon here, because in Python, there's a syntax that after if, else and elif conditions, you need to put the semicolon, and it is same for the for and while loop also, that in after these all the loops and conditions you need to put a semicolon. It is compulsory and it is a syntax of Python. So I hope it must be clear to you by the time I am telling you the syntax also a little bit. So okay, we have rectified this error also. So try to keep all these little things in mind. Okay, next we are having, no, this is the correct I have. Okay, now next we have if 2 is equal to 3. Just a second. Okay. Now I have taken a code that if 2 is equal to 3, print hello. Else if 2 is equal to 2, print goodbye. Now what's the error here? I have written everything. I have written the semicolon. I have written the semicolons too. No, not the semicolon, colon. I have written the colons after if and else condition. Now what's the error? Now the ones who would be reading C and C++, they would be a little bit familiar with the if and else if conditions. So in C we write, if we need to do nested if else, so we write if and after that else if, but it's not like that in Python. What in Python we use elif conditions. Instead of else if, we are going to use elif conditions in our Python, and basically it is a syntax one. Okay. So in Python we use, if we need to use nested if else conditions, we are here to use if and elif conditions, and after that elif, then after that if, and at the last we will do the closure with the else condition. So I hope this must be clear to you, and just a second, let me run and check that which type of error we are facing here. So again, yeah, I have told you that we are facing a syntax error, invalid syntax. So I hope this must be clear to you that this is a wrong syntax. In Python we use elif conditions. Now let's when we'll run, we will get the output as goodbye. Nothing to run here. It's only a simple one, and I'm telling you the types of errors which we face using Python here. Now next what I have taken is that, okay, so let's cover this afterwards. First let's cover this. Okay, this one. So I have taken two values here, x and y. Now I have taken the input from user. I wanted the user to input two values. Now in Python, what is the way to take to take the input from user? Now the thing is that here we need to take a data type, that what type of number you want. Basically it is known as, you can say, data types. This float, okay, this float is a data type. Now let me cover this in the next video. No, not in the next video, afterwards, here only. But let's firstly take, and in Python if we want to take an input from a user, we use a data type here, that which type of thing you want from the user, what type of data you want. After that we write input, and then we write a sentence that enter a number. Okay, so this is the thing which I have done for the two variables x and y. Now I have written z is equal to x plus y by 2, and I am saying that print the average of two numbers. Let me comment this. Other thing which I wanted to tell here will be covered in this example only. So now I am running. I will run, or I have enter. Let me zoom it. It's giving me enter a number. I enter that 2.0. Okay. Now it is asking to enter the second number. I entered 4.0. So the average of two numbers you entered is 4.0, but no, it's wrong. The average for this must be 3.2, because 4 plus 2 is equal to 6 and 6 by 2 is 3. Now, why we have faced this error here? Why we have got a wrong output? Now, let me explain you in the one note only. Let's write that whatever we have written, z is equal to x plus y by 2. And let's take one more thing, z x plus y by 2. Now, you only tell me that what is the correct way to find an average of a number. This one, huh? Okay, so what's the problem in this one? The main problem which arises here is that when we are giving this, so what it is doing is that it is only like this. It is x plus y by 2 here. This 2 is not being divided by the whole. So the numbers which we have given that were the 2 and 4. So just a second. Let me erase it. Okay, so the numbers which we have given the output were 2, 4. So 2, 4. Now, if it is something like this, it will take the output, it will do the LCM, and what we will get is that 4 plus 4 by 2. Okay, so here is 8 by 2 and we will get the output as 4.0, which we were getting 4.0 excuse me 4.0, which we were getting there. So this is the main basic difference, and this is called the runtime error. No, not a runtime error, it is a logical error. Now we have made a mistake in the logical, and as I have told you the definition that whenever we make an error of a logic error, we don't get any error in compilation time. It doesn't show that you have missed a colon here, or you have missed a semicolon here, or you have missed a bracket here. It is not going to show this. It is going to do the operation and it is going to do the function which you have given, but it is wrong. Why? Because you have given the wrong logic here. You have not given the logic for an average. The logic for average is that you need to put these brackets inside x and y, and now what we will get is that 4 plus 2, and this is in bracket, so it understands that I had to divide this 2 with whole of these things. So what it gets that I have to add these 4 plus 2, these two numbers, that is 6, and now I have to divide it by 2, and now I will get the output as 3.0. I hope I made it clear to you what's the logical errors and how these logical errors combine. Okay, now I have inserted the brackets, and let me run once more. Enter a number. I am entering the same numbers. Let me do 2.0. Then next is 4.0, and now I will get the output as 3. So I hope you got the point about the types of error, that what are the types of errors and what are the things which we need to keep in mind when we are writing any code, and what are the simple and the easy errors which we can face in our program. And these are the errors which we are not going to get very easily. Like we do not rectify these errors very easily, because we always go and search in a code that what I have made an error, have I written any variable wrong, or all that things. But no, these are the simple errors. You miss a colon, you miss a bracket, and you miss semicolons and all that things. So keep these things in mind. Now next we are moving with the keywords and identifiers, that what are keywords and identifiers. So for that, let's move to our presentation for keywords and identifiers. Next we are dealing that what are keywords. So there are total 33 keywords in Python. So keywords are the built-in functions. So keywords are already there. We need not to define any keyword. They are reserved words. You can say a definition for keyword is that these are the reserved words. Okay, so there are total 33 keywords in Python, and except true, false and none. All other keywords in lowercase. So what I mean to say here is that in the keywords true, false and none, the first letter of all these three keywords are capital. And except these three keywords, all the other keywords which are there, they all are having small alphabets only. That is, the first alphabet is also small. So only these are the three keywords which have the capital letters in their first. Okay. Now I have told you about the keywords. Let's move and see the whole 33 keywords. So these are the total 33 keywords which we are going to see, and we are not going to see all 33 keywords in a single video. We will see time by time that whatever we are going to code and whatever the programs are there, I will tell you time by time. So let's see that here false, in false the F is capital, in none N is capital, and in true T is capital, and other than that you will not find any of the keywords which are having their first letters as capital. So basically this is the thing which I wanted to tell you, that false, none and true. These are the three keywords which have their first letter as capital, and other than there are many keywords like break, continue. Class is also a keyword. Def is used for the functions. Del is used to delete anything. We have discussed about the elif and else things presently only. I have told you about the for. We have discussed if, while, and all these are the keywords which we will see in our further videos with the time. Next, we are moving to the identifiers. Now, what are identifiers? So basically, identifiers are the name given to entities like class, function, variables, which helps to differentiate one entity from another. You have seen in the examples that I have written there that x is equal to some value, y is equal to some value. So what were that x and y? These are only the identifiers. Identifiers we make variables, and that are the identifiers. Now let's take, there are some rules to write an identifier. So the first rule is that identifier can't start with a digit. You can't write an identifier like 0x. No, this would be wrong. It would give an error. It is wrong. Okay. Can be of any length. Yeah. You can write an identifier of a one number, or you can take it to 100 alphabets. It's totally on you that you can take any length of the identifier. Next, keywords cannot be used. It is a very main and important rule for an identifier that you can't use keywords as an identifier. Why? Because keywords are the reserved words, and identifiers, we write identifiers. Identifiers are the variables which we use to store a value, which we use to initialize a value. So that's the reason we can't use keywords, cannot be used as an identifier. If you anywhere write true is equal to 1, it will show an error. Why? Because because true is a keyword, and we can't even use a keyword as an identifier. Keep this thing in mind. Now, next is that special symbols are not allowed. Now, what are the special symbols? Special symbols like at the rate, dollar, and star. These all are the special symbols, and these special symbols are not allowed for an identifier to declare a identifier. Okay. So now next is can be combination. Yeah, we can combine, like we can write it as 1 underscore 2. So yes, it can be a combination of two words, and we can use the underscore. Only the underscore is a special symbol which we can use in an identifier. Clear? Next, move to the next slide, and I have taken some examples for you also. Now, example for keyword. Okay, so here def is a keyword, as I have already told you that def is a keyword which is used to define a function. And what I have done here is that I have used add. Print is a keyword. Yeah, print is a keyword because it is a reserved word, and we use print for we use print for printing anything. Like you have already seen in the examples which we were discussing. We are writing print, and in that brackets we are writing the statements which we want to print. So it is used to give the output. You can say it as it is used to give the output. After that, here while is the condition, and it is the keyword. Clear? Now let me close it. Now next we have the valid and invalid identifiers. Okay. So now let me tell you what are the valid identifiers. Now, as I have told you, it can be a combination. So here it is a combination AB, then 10, and then C. Okay, it is right. What I have told you is that we can't start an identifier with a number, but we can insert it between two alphabets. It would be okay. It would be totally fine. It would not show any error. What I have said is that we can't use a number in the starting for an identifier. Clear? So this 99 is not valid, but this is valid. After that, I have already told that we can use an underscore for inside a variable to to declare the identifiers, and underscore is only the one special symbol which we can use in our identifier. So ABC underscore is totally fine. Only underscore is also fine, and we can even use the underscore in the starting also. It is also fine. After that, what's the error here? We can't use a number. Clear? Then here the symbols. I have already told that we can't use any special symbol here, but plus is a special symbol, so it is not valid. And for, what is for? For is a keyword, and as mentioned earlier that for is a keyword and keywords can be used as an identifiers. So these are the difference between the valid and invalid identifiers, that what are the valid and what are invalid. Now let's move to the practical for this. Here what I have done is that, let me tell you, okay, these are the keywords and identifiers, fine. So def, I have made a function name as my function a comma b and I have passed two values inside a comma b. Okay. Now I have taken another variable which is equal to c, and the c is what? Identifier. This def is keyword. C is equal to a plus b, print c, and in my function I have passed two values 10, 20. Yeah, so this is fine. You will get the output as 30. But here what I want to tell you is the use of the keyword. Here the keyword which we have used is def. Fine. Next example, I have used the keyword while here, if here, continue. So these are the three keywords which we have used in this program. Now see one thing here, that I have used this operation here, that a plus is equal to 1. So we have seen this thing in operators. So try to do like this, that whenever you see a code, try to remember that what are the things which I know here and where I have learned that things, what is the name of this operator and all that thing. So it would be like you will get programming very easily also. Now next, if we have used if here. It is clear if is a keyword I have told you. I is an identifier, that is the variable which I was saying. Here in if else conditions, then what goes next here is that, okay. So this one is the nice example which I want to tell you, that here we have used the underscore z is equal to 10. Now let me comment the above things. Once a second. Okay. Just a second. Okay. Now here I have used the underscore here. So what I want to tell you here is that we can use underscore in the declaration of any identifier, that is a variable. So underscore z is equal to 10 and then print underscore z. It will not show error. It will give the output as 10. So because this is a valid identifier, we can use underscore. I have already mentioned it. Now this P and Q, it will also not show any error because between P and Q we have used the underscore. Underscore is a valid identifier. Then here I have used my var is equal to subscribe fun with data science. So this my var will also work. I have told you that it can be a combination of two. Clear? Next what I have done here is that my var, var1, var2. Okay, now all these things are okay here. Now these are the example which I have told there, and I have written the reason that why these are not the identifier. We cannot use it. These are the invalid identifiers. Now the first example is of 99. So for 99 I have written identifier cannot be only digits. I have told you this thing. The next 9 ABC identifier cannot start with numbers. Then x plus y, the only special character allowed is an underscore, and here we have used the special symbol as addition sign, and addition signs is an special symbol, and it is strictly prohibited that no special symbol other than underscore is used in an identifier, and for it's a reserved keyword. So I hope I made this thing clear to you about what is keywords and identifiers and what are invalid and valid keywords and identifiers. Now let's go and search on Google. Try to write some valid identifiers, try to write some invalid identifiers, try to study more rules about it. Okay. Now next what comes is the data types. Now we have a very interesting topic here about the data types, and let me see that where is the data type slide. Okay, this one. So now we are going to learn data type and typecasting. First, what are data types? So data types are the variables can hold values and values have data types. Okay. So let me tell you, like I have written x is equal to 10. It is a variable, right? Yes, it is a variable. And this variable x is holding a value that is 10. Okay, so this 10 is the data type. Now what is a data type? Data type, you can understand it from its name only, that any data which is having its type. Like this 10 is a number. So in Python, we call it as an integer. So we have given x is a variable and 10 is a data type of integer. It is an integer data type. Clear? If I have written here is that 10.0. So this would be a float because I have used a decimal sign, decimal here. So whenever we use any decimal thing, it's called a float, and whenever we write a simple number without using any decimal, it is called an integer. Let me write it here int and here write a float. I hope I had made it clear to you. Now here we comes the Python data types. This is numeric, dictionary, boolean, set and sequence type. In numeric there are three types: integer, complex number and float, and sequence type there is string, list and tuple. Okay. Here are some examples that name for the data types are list, dictionary, sets, integer, float, long, string, tuple. I'm saying it once more. If you want to note it down, you can note. It's the important thing. Anyone can ask you that what are the different data types? List them. So what will you do there? You need to list all of the data types. So I'm repeating it once more. List, dictionary, sets, integer, float, long, string and tuple. These are the data types. Okay. Let's move to the next slide for the examples. Now we have done the data types. Now what is a typecasting? Typecasting means conversion of one data to another type. It seems something tricky like now that wow, conversion of one data type to another. Yes, we can convert one data type to another data type. Like assume we have written a x is equal to 10 and we want to convert it into float. Can we? Let's see it in the further slides that can we do this. So basically there are two types of typecasting, that is implicit typecasting and explicit typecasting. Now let me tell you the definitions for these and with the examples. What is implicit type conversion? So the type of conversion in which the data type is converted to another automatically. Now it is a type of conversion in which we need not to mention that we need to convert this data type into this data type. Okay, so it is a type of conversion in which the data type is converted to other automatically. Let's take an example. I have written num int num flow. Okay, now see here what is I have written is that num underscore int. It is an valid identifier. I am not, you are must be wondering that we are studying implicit type conversion and I am telling you about the identifiers. No, it's not the thing. Whenever I have already said you, whenever we write a code, we see a code anywhere, we need to identify the what are the things we are seeing here, what are things which we have learned here. You need to recall all that things. So I have told you about the identifiers, I had told you about the data types. So only these things are covered here. Nothing new is covered here. I had tell you about the print statement. I had tell you about the operator, that is addition operator. So only these things are here. So try to recall all these things from this example only that I have written here is that num int and I have assigned the value as an integer value, that is 1, 2, 3. After that, what I have done is that I have taken another identifier and I have written num underscore flow. So basically it is 1.23. 1.23 is a float value. 123 is an integer value. I have presently told you, and if you don't remember, try to listen the things more clearly and more accurately. Don't keep your mind here and there and focus on here only. After that, num new, I have made another identifier num new, and what I am doing here is that I am adding these two numbers, that num int plus num flow. Now what the next, that print data type of num int, type num int, print data type of num flow, type num flow, print value of num new, that is num new, and print data type of num new, type num new. Okay, so what I am getting here as an output for this code is that data type of num integer is class integer. I had already told you that num integer, the value is okay. Let me do a little bit thing here. Let me erase all these things and let me make the marker a little bit more thinner because this would once more create a very much mess up here. Okay. So what I have done here is that data type of num int. Clear? So the data type for num int, I have told you that num integer is a I have told you that num int, here we have inserted. Okay, just a second. Let me take a pen. I am a little bit, like little bit here and there. Okay, now let's focus here. Num int is equal to 1 to 3. I have told you that 1 to 3 is an integer value, clear? And 1.23 is a float value. And now what we are doing here, that when I am printing the data type for these two things, num int and num float. So for data type of num int, I am getting the integer data type, and for the num float, I am getting the float integer type, float data type. So I hope you got the thing that how to print the data type. Okay. So next what I have done here is that we have made a new variable, that is identifier, obviously num new, and we have added 1 2 3 and 1 2 3, and what the output we are getting is 124.23, and the data type is class float. Okay. Now what's done here? Why I am not getting the data type as integer here? I have added integer plus float. But why I am not getting the output and the data type of this final num new here as integer? I am getting as float. Why? Now here comes the role of the highest and the lowest ranks. Let me explain you this by this chart, that this chart is from the lowest to the highest ranks. So the lowest rank is of the char, short int, then int, unsigned int, long int, unsigned long int, float, double, long double. Now int comes to the second number, clear, and float comes to the eighth number. No, not 1 2 3 4 5 6, sixth number. So out of let's take it as a 8. Out of 8, integer comes on the second and float comes on the sixth. So which is higher? 6 one. Among 8, the sixth one is higher. So we will get the type of the highest data type which is mentioned in this list with the lowest to highest rank. If there would be any data type which we have taken as double and long double, then what we will get? We will get the long double as the final data type, because long double has the highest rank among all the data types which are present here. I hope you got that point, that it depends on the lowest to highest rank for the implicit type conversion, that you here when we add two things, integer or float, we will get the final output and final data type as the float because of the highest to the lowest ranks. I made it clear to you. Now next let's move to the explicit type conversion, and here it is. Okay, so explicit type conversion. Now what's here in this? In this type of conversion, user has to convert the data type from one to another. Now it is like this, that we need to convert this on our own. In the implicit one, it was converting on its own from seeing the lowest to highest ranks, that which data type has the lowest and which data type has the highest rank. The data type which would having the highest rank, the whole final output which would be of that data type. But in explicit type conversions, we need to convert a data type from one to another on our own. So when we need to convert anything on our own, there should be a syntax which we need to follow, and the syntax for explicit type conversion is that we need to write the required data type, and after that we need to write the expression inside that data type. Now let's take an example. Num integer. Identifier, I had told you this is 1 2 3 is an integer data type. 4 5 6. Now I hope this must be visible to you, or I can't zoom it, but let me write it here, that here it is written that num str is equal to 4 5 6. Now previously in this video only I have told you that if anything is written inside the semicolons, it is always treated as an string. Remember these small things, small tricks in your mind, otherwise it would create a lot of mess and a lot of error afterwards. But keep this in mind, that if anything is written inside the semicolons, it is always deal as a string. Clear? Inside whatever it is written, that doesn't matter anyway. Inside it is written apple, inside it is written Shambhavi, or inside it is written 4 5 6. These things do not matter. What the things matter is that we have inserted a semicolon, and we have written that thing inside this semicolon. Fine? Clear. Now this is a string, After that, what I have written is that print data type of num int, type num int. I have entered the type for this and data type of num str before typecasting, and I have written num str. So what I am going to do here is that I am typecasting this num str into the integer format. Okay, so this I have done. Now if I want to convert this num str into integer format, what I will do here is that I will write num str. Okay, let me write in one note. It would be a little bit more fine. Just a second. Let me move a little more down. And let me take a different color. We have been writing since a long time from the same color. So what I have written here is that if I want to typecast num str into integer type, what I will do here is that just a second. Hold on. Okay. Oh, why it's not moving down? Okay, fine. A little more down. If I want to typecast this num str into integer type, what I will do here is that I will write num str, that name, and I will write the integer data type, and inside that I will write num str. So I hope this must be clear to you, and this is the word syntax we have already written that we have seen that here we have written the required data type, and here we have written the expression which we want to typecast. Clear? So this is the format of typecasting one data type to another. Clear? Now let's move to that image once more. And I have written it here num str int num. I have typecasted that, and then I have written that print the data type, and all these are the things which you have already seen. But the main thing was to tell you about the explicit type conversion. Okay, so that how we do the type conversions. Now let's move to a PyCharm IDE. Data types. Just a second. Okay. Now here, let me do this. Fine. So now recall and tell with me without printing that what is the print type of 1, 2, 3? What would be the output? So the type would be integer. Okay, so let me run class integer. Clear? Next, what will the type for this? Print type a bracket में hello world. So basically this is a string, so it would be of a class str. Clear? Class str. Now x is equal to true and print type x. So this would be a type of bool. Now let me tell you about bool, that true and false are the boolean expressions. Boolean expressions. You heard that right? Boolean expressions. So true and false, whenever we write true and false and print their type, it will come always bool, because these are the boolean expressions and it belongs to bool. Okay. So we have done this here. We have seen some data types, and I hope now it must be in your mind that what are data types and what are the things and how do we check data types, what kind of data types are there. Okay, so if anyone gives you a number and says that tell me what is this data type, I hope you might be able to tell that okay, this is this data type, this is this data type. Okay. Now we are going to see the explicit type conversion, which I have mentioned there also. What I have done here is that I have given the value of a is equal to 1, b is equal to 10. Now, the ones who would be seeing this video very constantly and I can say that very attentively, they must recognize that this is I string. This is the thing which I am repeating since starting of my video, that if anything is written inside these semicolons, it is treated as a string. Now keep this thing in your mind. Now I will not repeat this thing second time. Understood? Okay. So integer, data type, integer, data type is string, A and B identifiers, yeah, variables. Now, if we print the type of A, you all must know it would be integer. If I print the data type of B, it would be a string. Now, what I am doing here is that I am doing a typecasting. This step, B is equal to int of B. This is basically typecasting. Now, what I am doing here is that I am typecasting the B, that is a string, into an integer. So for that, I need to write B, that is the variable which was there. Then the required data type, that in which data type you want to convert it. I want to convert it into integer. I have written that, and after that in bracket I have written b, that is 10. After that we will do the sum, because listen one thing, we can't add a number and a string. Is it possible anyway? No, it's not possible. Okay, so if we want the sum of a and b, firstly we need to typecast b into integer values. We can add integer and integer, understood, but we can't add integer and a string if inside the string it is written 10, also inside the string it is written number also, then also we can't add that, because whenever the semicolons come, the thing inside the semicolon turn to be an string. We don't care that what inside the semicolons is written, number written, string written, alphabet written, it doesn't matter. The thing which comes inside the semicolons is the string. Now we have typecasted b and b, and after that what I have written, that sum is equal to a plus b, and then print sum. Now let's print the sum and we will get the sum as 11. Clear? Now this is the thing, that when we have printed the type of a, it is integer, type of b, it is a string, and the final output which we have done is the 11. Clear? Now I hope this must be clear to you, and when I run the print type of sum, it would be integer. Clear? This is getting as integer because we have typecasted the string thing into the integer. I hope it must be clear to you that what are data types and how are we going to deal with the operators, types of error, keywords and identifiers, and data types. I have told all these things with a very detailed one, and I don't think that anything is left inside these four. Now what's the come here is your role. You need to practice this more and more as much as you can. You can explore data types, you can print the type of different things. You can see that you can do implicit, explicit type conversions. You can perform all the operations, all the operators and the operands. Now one thing more is here in operators. Let me tell you that whenever we add two things, like I have added a and b, so their a and b acts as the operands, and this plus sign is the operator. So whenever we add something, or the symbol which we are using with the two variables or with the two things which are there, they are called as operators in the programming language, operands in the programming language. Here a and b are the operands and this plus sign is the operator. Clear? Okay. So this is the thing, and then we have discussed operators, types of errors. After that we have discussed the keywords and identifiers, what are valid identifiers, what are invalid identifiers and its rules, and then we have discussed about the data types. So I hope this all things must be clear to you. You can go and try them out, have a discussion, Google that, search on that, and that's all. So this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and bye bye. Basically, so let me tell you firstly that what is string slicing. So string slicing is obtaining a substring from a string. Let's say you have a string that is in which it is written Shambhavi is a good girl. Now we have to obtain some a small string from this larger string. You can say a substring, like I want to only obtain Shambhavi here. So basically the obtaining of this method is called string slicing. Now one more important point is there, that string slicing starts with the first index and ends at the last index. Now let's say in this program I have taken a variable, a slash identifier, that is my str, and I have separated it with using an underscore. So as I had already told you the rules for identifiers, this is a rule that underscore is used. We can use underscore in the identifiers, and not any other special symbol are used in naming an identifier. So what I have used here is that my underscore string, and I have stored a string that is Shambhavi is a good girl inside this variable. So in the last video only I had told you that whenever you see these semicolons and inside that you see any string or any number, all that things are always treated as a string. So next, if I want to print the length of my string, if I want to see that what is the length of my string, so for that there is a function which is called as len. So for finding the length of my string, which I have mentioned here, is that my str. So for finding that, we use print, and in bracket we use the function that is len function. So I wrote print len and in bracket the name of my variable. So I wrote print len my str. Now when I will run my program, so just hold on a second. Okay, so when I'm running it, I'm getting an output as 24. So this tells me that the length of your string is 24. Clear? Now, if I want to obtain a substring from my this string, so what's the method? So now here what comes is the string slicing. So let's take an example here. Let's say I have taken my name Shambhavi, and now I want to, there we have done an operation that is 1:9. We have written this. So what does this mean? This 1 is the beginning one. So it is telling that you need to begin this string from 1 and you need to end this string at 9. Now here in a string slicing, these characters, these alphabets are ordered from 0th index. So the index for S is 0, for H is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So basically this is the whole procedure of indexing in string slicing. Now here the index starts from 0. So whenever it is saying that like it is written from 1:9. So what is 1 here? 1 is the H thing. We don't see the numbers. In string slicing, the thing that matters is the index number. All the thing in string slicing goes and gives the output through the indexing. So this one is the positive indexing which I have done here. There is a one negative indexing also. We will discuss this thing later on. So here what I told you is that the index starts from 0 and goes up to the length. So here my first beginning, that it is saying that you need to begin and give the string from the first index. So in my first index, H is stored. So first word in my output, I would get it as H. Now it is saying that go on to 9. So it will go till here, this one. This is n minus 1. So here 9 minus 1, that is 8. So it will go on to here and we will get the output like H, A, M, B, H, A, V, I. It will miss the H because S will not be printed here because we have started the indexing from first index, not from the 0th index. If we would write here it as like 0:9. So basically now it would print our whole name, my whole name, that is Shambhavi. So I hope I made it clear to you that what is indexing and what is the rule for slicing here. This is the first, like anything is written like this. So this one is the starting index, starting. And this 9 thing is the ending. It is telling you that you need to end and print your string till this index. Clear? Now let's move to a PyCharm IDE, and so here I had written print my str and in bracket I have written 1:9. Now when I am going to, just hold on a second, when I am going to run it, I will get the output which I have written there only HAMBHAVI. So you saw here that when I had written that it will go from 1:9, I had already told you that your output will be HAMBHAVI. So I hope I made this thing clear to you about the indexing and about how to get the outputs and how to do the slicing. Now let's take another example for it. Now here I had told you how to print the length of your string, how to check that. Second comes here is that I had here only told you that if we start from 0 to 9. So if we start from 0 to 9, we will get my whole name, that is Shambhavi, because the S points to the 0th index and here we are starting from the 0th index. Clear? Okay. Now next what comes here is that if I do print my str0 is to 24. Now if you are listening the lecture very carefully, you must have recognized that what is 24 here. So basically this 24 is the whole length of my str. In starting, the first function which I performed in this string was print and in bracket len, then my str. So basically what does this means is that when I am printing the length of my string, its whole length is 24, and when I am doing this function, that 0 is to 24. So I'm starting from the 0th index and going till the last index of my string. So basically it will print my whole string that Shambhavi is a good girl. So let's run it once and check this out. Let me comment the earlier one. Okay, now I'm running it and the output which I got is Shambhavi is a good girl. So as I have told you, that 0th is the starting index for a string slicing, and other than that you can here use any of the numbers. Clear? Okay. So now our next thing is that what I had done here is that I had written print my str0 is to 65. Now my whole string length was 24. Clear? Now if I write 0 is to 65, so will it show error or not? Because 65 is a very larger number and my string does not contain this much of characters in it. My string last index is 24, so it will go till there only. But here what I have mentioned is that 0 is to 65. The string length I have mentioned here is 65. So basically it will not show any error. It will just print the string that is there, that is Shambhavi is a good girl, and after that it will leave the spaces blank because my string is of 24 length and I have given the index here as 65. So it will print my string whatever is there and after that it will finish the output. So let's run it and check that out. Let me run. Okay. So basically what I have printed here is that Shambhavi is a good girl. So I hope I made this thing clear to you that how to do this. Now next comes here is that, okay, just a second. Okay, now next comes here is that 0 is to 9 is to 2. Let me go to my OneNote only. So let me change the color. Then I can explain you more easily. So I am writing here 0 is to 9. First let's understand about 1. So clear. So in the starting only I have explained to you about 0 and 9. So if you are listening to the lecture very carefully, you will be able to guess that what will be its output. So the output will be Shambhavi here. For 0 to 9 the output will be Shambhavi. Now what is this 1 here? Why has this come and will it do any change in our this output or not? So basically this one, the thing which we mentioned after this colon, this one is the starting, this one is the ending, and this one is the skip this much of characters. So basically if I enter 1 here, so it means that you need not to skip any of the character and print the string like this only, that in our 0 is to 9 Shambhavi will be stored. Let me write it here. Shambhavi. Okay, so till 0 is to 9 this Shambhavi will be stored. And this one, it means that you need to skip one character, and here this one is something that which does not skips your any of the character. If you will write 2 here instead of 1, if you will write 2 here, so now it will skip your 1 character, and now if you will print 0 is to 9 is to 2, so the what output will you get here is that S A B A I. So SABAI, you will get the output here as this. Now let me explain you this thing once more. Let's move to above where we have done this. And let's say I am writing here 0 is to 9 is to 2. This 2 means that the number which you mention here, it means that you need to skip character likewise here. So the in the starting of the index, if we do not mention anything here, so that means you need to start your counting from 0, And if we do not mention anything this inside this 2, or we write 1 here, so it means that you need not to skip any of the character and print the whole string as it is given. But if you are printing 2 here, so it means that you need to skip this character, skip each only one character after every letter. Now let me show you how. So from 0 to 9, you all must be agreeing that our output will be whole Shambhavi my name. Now after that, if I want to uh, skip one character here because of this 2, so what output will I get is that after skipping H, I will get A. Then I will skip M and I will get B. Then I will skip H and I will get A. And after that I will skip V and I will get I. So what output will I get here is that S, A, B, A, I. This will be our output. So I think I made it clear to you that if you are writing 1 here, so that means you need not to skip any of the characters and print the beginning and the ending of the string like the same only. But if you are adding 2 or 3 or 4 here, so it means that you need to skip n-1 character. So here if you are writing 2, so you write 2 minus 1 and 2 minus 1 is 1. So you need to skip one character here. Okay, so I think I made it clear to you, and now let's run it for 1 and 2 both. Let's firstly run it for 1, and after I wrote 1 and run it, I got the output here as Shambhavi. Now if I make it 2 and now I run it, so I got the output as SA, just hold on a second, SABAI, and this was the same output which we find out here after doing our calculation and after doing our result, SABAI. So I hope I made all the things clear to you about the slicing. Now next comes here, let me comment it. Now here I told you that if you do not mention anything in this the starting of the index, let's say you did not write, okay, let me take this a little bit more down. Okay, let me change the color also. Okay, fine. So I told you that if you don't write anything here and simply you write any length here, so basically what it will mean that it will automatically take the starting index as 0. Okay, and now after that it will print whole your string, that is Shambhavi is a good girl. It will take this string and consider this index as blank space as 0 and it will print your whole string. Clear? So here let me run it, and the output which we will get is Shambhavi is a good girl. Now after this, I hope I made this clear to you that if you're not writing anything here, so it will automatically take 0. So this is also the same example. Here what I have done is that I had taken colon, and after colon I have given the ending index as 5. So it will simply print SHAMB. Clear? Okay. Now, if I don't give any of the things here, like I have not given the starting index also and I have not given the ending index also. So basically what it will do is that it will print your whole string which is starting from the 0th index till the 24th index. Clear? Okay. Now hash. Okay, now I have already told you about this one in the example which I was showing for 0, 24 and 1 and 2. So basically let me run it and it will print the whole string like it is, because here the default gap is 1 and default gap I had told you n-1, so 0. Clear? So it will not skip any of the characters and it will automatically print the whole string. Now, okay. Now if I don't write anything here and then I write 2. Okay. See it here. If I miss the starting index, I miss the ending index, and only I write the how much characters to skip. So this thing I had already told you that it will take the starting index as 0. It will take your whole length of the string, that is 24, and it will skip each one of the character, that is n-1, and print you the output. Now let me run it and let's check it out. Run. So basically what it does is that Shambhavi is a good girl was my whole string, and it has skipped each and every of the characters and printed me this string. Clear? So here we completed our positive indices for the string slicing. Now comes the negative indices for string slicing. Now let me take you a little bit down. And okay, we have already checked the string of our length of our string. Now here it is -4 is to -2. Let's move to the PyCharm IDE, and this has created a little bit of mess up. Now let me move a little down and let me create one more rectangle here like this. Okay, and now let me make some lines and write my name. Okay, let me do SHAMBHAV. Okay, so here it is SHAMBHAVI. Okay, so from here we have started the positive indices, that was 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, and we have gone up to 8 here. And Shambhavi is just a second, let me is a good girl. So this was our whole string in which we are doing some string slicing options. Now here what if we move from left to right, we get the positive indices, and now if you move from right to left you will get negative indices. Now what I wanted to say is that if you are going and doing the indexing from left to right hand side, that is from Shambhavi, so you will get the output as you will get the indices as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and up to 24. But if you are going to do the indexing from here, so here from the negative indexing starts, and this L will be -1, -2, -3, -4, and so on up to -24. So what I wanted to convey from here is that if we move from right to left, we get the negative indices. Clear? This is the negative indices side, and if we move from left to right, we get the positive indices. So I hope I made this thing clear to you that how do we do all these things. And now what I am doing here is that I am taking the starting index as -4 and ending index as -2. So from here, see, let me take it a little down and let me just write simply girl here and -1, -2, -3, -4. Now I have given the starting index as -4. Clear? And I had given the ending index as -2. Clear? So what it will do is that it will here start from -4 is to -2. So it will print me -3. It will print me the character which is stored at the index -4 and stored at the index -3. So what I will give the output here as GI. I will not get RL else because it prints the index, it prints the character which is one index prior to it. So basically if I am printing from -4 to -2, it will give me -4 and -3 characters which are stored in this string. So here that I got was print my str -4 is to -2. So I got the output as GI. Now in positive, if we wanted to write, so this was our index 20, 21, 22 and 23. So in positive, if I wanted to write, so I will write it as 20 is to 22. So that means your starting index is 20 and your ending index is n minus 1, that is equal to 22 minus 1, which is 21. So what I will get the output as G and I. So I hope I made this negative indices thing clear to you, and let's run it once again. So I'm getting the output as GI here. Now instead of minus 4 and minus 2, if I write this 20 and 22 here, so then also I will get the same output, that is GI, because I told you from left to right we have positive indices and from right to left we have negative indices. Now let me comment this and make it the same, minus 4 to minus 2. Okay, so this is done. Fine. Now, what I told you was that if we don't write anything here, this side, this one, what it does is that it will print the whole string as it is given without skipping any of the characters in the positive thing. Now, the same thing applies to the negative also. What we do here is that if let me change the color of the pen so that everything seems to be a little bit different to each other, otherwise they all will mess up here. So if I write nothing here, and if I write minus 1 here, so this one is the starting index, as I told you, this one is the ending index. Now if I do minus 1 here, so minus 1 starts from where? So as I told you, this is just a second. So this minus 1 starts from L, then it goes to minus 2, then minus 3, then minus 4, and keep one thing in mind, that all the blank spaces which are here, these are also counted in the number of indices. So this blank space is minus 5, then D is minus 6, minus 7, minus 8, and so on till minus 24. So if I write nothing in this side and colon, nothing, I write nothing here and I write minus 1 here. So simply what it will do is that it will not leave any of the characters, but it will reverse the whole string. Why? Because I am taking here the positive indices. I haven't mentioned that you need to take the negative indices here. And after that I am asking it to print the characters from minus 1. So what it will print is that, let me go a little down. So I'm writing it here. So what it will print the output as L R I G D O G S I, and it will reverse the whole string. As you are seeing that reverse of girl I have written here, reverse of good I have written this, A will be same, and reverse of is I have written this side. So what it will do is that it will reverse the whole string and it will give us the reverse of the whole string. Now let's run it once and see what I am getting is the reverse of the string which I told you here, that LRIGDOOG, see it here, LRIGDOOG. So this is how the string slicing works. And now if I write instead of minus 1, I write minus 2 here. So it will reverse the string also and it will skip one character and print us the output. See here, LIOGASVHMH. So this was the string slicing thing that I wanted to tell you. So this is how string slicing works and this is how we do the string slicing. Now let's move to some functions for strings. Now here I had taken a string that is my str, and in that I had stored a string that is subscribe fun with data science. Now what comes here are the string functions. I had written print in bracket my str.isAlnum. Now what is this thing? What is isAlnum? Let me take you a little bit down. Okay. Hold on a second. Okay. So let me take a color. Okay, so this one. So now, what is al now? Is al now. So basically it means that is your string alphanumeric or not. This function tells you that is your string alphanumeric or not. Now what is alphanumeric string? So alphanumeric string is a string that contains numbers and characters in its string. So let's say I have written a string that I have mentioned there only, subscribe fun with, and let's say I have written only this much, subscribe fan with. So basically this is not an alphanumeric string. Now why it is not an alphanumeric string? Because it has spaces between this string. So a string that has only and only numbers and characters is called an alphanumeric string. The string which has blank spaces between it is not called as an alphanumeric string. If I write subscribe fan with data like this, and now again if I combine this whole string and write subscribe and then fun and then with, so this is an alphanumeric string because it does not have any of the gaps between this string. Now let's say if I write SU123B. If I write this thing, so this is also an alphanumeric string because it doesn't have any gaps between it, and it basically has some characters and some numbers also. So that is why it is an alphanumeric string. Now let me go to this PyCharm IDE and let's run this. Okay, let me comment all these functions firstly. Okay, now this is function gives us the output in the Boolean format, that is true or false format. So basically it will give us the output true or false. Now let me run this, and here what I will get the output is as false. So as I have told you that subscribe fun with data science, whatever I have written here is not an alphanumeric string because it contains some gaps between it. Now if I combine these whole string and I remove all the gap between this string, so what is it now? It will give us the output as true here because yes, it is an alphanumeric string because it does not have spaces between it. I hope I made this thing clear to you that what is alphanumeric string and how to check that it is an alphanumeric string or not. Now next comes here is another function that is called as ends with. Now what is this ends with function? So basically it helps us to check that do our string end with this name or not. So let's say my string is subscribe fun with data science. So what I wrote here is that print my str dot ends with, and in bracket I wrote science. So now here I will check that does my string ends with the word that is science or not. If it ends, it will give me the output as true. And if it does not, it will give me the output as false. Now let me run it and I will get the output here as true because yes, my this string contains the last word which is science. So basically my this string ends with the word that is called science. Now let's say if I write science s here, sciences. So our string was ending with science, but I wrote sciences here. So basically what it will do, it is a case sensitive language. So basically it will print as the output that is false. So I hope I made all these two functions clear to you. Now our next function comes that if we want to count that how many a single character is present in our string how many times. Now let me go to OneNote and okay, let me go a little down. So let's say I wrote my whole string here, that is subscribe fun with data science. Now let's say I want to count that how many E are present in my this string. So here I have 1. This is in science I have 2 E. So total count for the E is 3 here. Now this is a very small string of only some characters. Now let's say we have a very big string and let's say we have 30 lines. So there you are not going to sit and count each and every letter, that is this letter E. No, this is not. Let's move on to another alphabet. Now, is this letter E? No, let's move to another alphabet. So you are not going to do this thing there. So here comes the role of the count function, that this count function which we are writing here, it helps to count that this character is present how many times in your string. So basically what I wrote here is that print my str dot count e. So it will count that e is present how many times in this string, and now it is giving me the output as 3, which I mentioned here that when we counted, our e was present 3 times in our string, so it is here only, it is present 3 times. So I hope I made this thing clear to you about the count function. And if you write any alphabet which is not present in this, let's say which alphabet, let's say Z is not present here, and now and run this function, so it will give you the output as 0. So it will tell you that no Z character, no Z alphabet is present in your whole string. Now we have a function that is called capitalize. So what it does is that it helps to capitalize the first alphabet of your string. Now let's say your first alphabet of your string is small. Now this S is small. Now we want to make this S capital. So what we do here is that we run this capitalize function and see. We have the capital S here. So it helps to capitalize your first letter of your string. Now next we have a find function. Let's say you have a very long string of 100 words. Now there you want to find a word. Let's say you want to find a word there. So how you will do? You are not going to see the whole string of 100 words and you are not going to find it on your own. So here comes the role of the find function. What we do here is that we use a function find and in bracket we write that word which we want to find in our string. So this function returns us the starting index of that string, of that word, that it is starting from this index. So you can go and check it out there. So basically this is the function of the find function. Now let me run it and it will give me the output as 0, because my subscribe function is starting from the 0th index. Now let's say I write fun here. Let me do it a little bit down. Let's say I write fun here. So it will tell me the starting index of the fun, that fun is starting with this much of index here. So now it is giving me the output as 10. So it is saying that fun is starting from the 10th index. Okay, so now let's firstly do the upper function because my string is already written in the lowest one. So now here comes the two functions that are uppercase and lowercase function. Uppercase means the capital letters and lowercase means the smaller letters. Now this uppercase character, how does it work? That if your string is present in the smaller characters, that is in the lowercase, so it helps to capitalize all your letters and gives you the output as the capital letter string. So for writing this I used print and bracket my str.upper. So when I did this and I run it, I will get the output as subscribe fun with data science in whole of the capital letters. In the string, the main string was in the lowercase, but in the output we got all the capital letters. So this is the function of the upper function, that it helps to capitalize and make all the letters of a string capital. Now let me make this string capital, subscribe fun with data science, SCIENC. Now I have made this string whole in capital letter and now I want to make it in the small character. So there I use the lower function. So for using the lower function I write print mystr.lower, and what it does is that it will convert this whole string into lower function. Let me run it and see. Here the output I got is the whole of the lower case characters. So this was the string slicing and the string functions. We had seen some functions, some slicing on the strings. Now next comes our topic of list. Now what is a list? So basically, a list is a thing which contains many of the you can say strings in that. It is a single variable that stores many things in a single variable. Let me explain you this with an example here. Okay, so just a second. Now we were making single variables and storing a single string there. But now we have introduced list to you. So basically if I make let's say I make a variable list here. No, not list. Let me remove it. Let me go a little down. Let's say I make a variable here as a, and I want to store multiple things in that. So what I will do here is that I will put this large brackets. So basically this large brackets are the denotation that how do we denote our list and how do we check that it is a list only. So if you write this large bracket, so it will tell you that yes, this is your list. So inside this I will put some semicolons and I will continue writing the things here. So let's say I wrote ABC. Now I put a comma and then again I wrote DEF. Again I wrote comma GHI. And it is not necessary that you can write only strings here. You can write some numbers. Let's say I write 5, I write 7, I write 6. So basically this is how the strings work. So now let me show you a string which I had made, and that string is stationary. Okay. So just hold on a second. Let me comment all these things. Okay, just one more. Okay. So I guess I have this thing's downside also. Let me comment it once more. And are there any more like these things? So, okay, let me comment out. Okay, fine. So I had made a string named stationery here. So in that string, I had stored some string. Sorry, I had made a list that is known as stationery, and I have stored some words, or you can say characters or a string inside this list. So what I had written is that pen, pencil, eraser, scale, marker, and after that 56. Now if I want to print my list, so for that what I use is that print and then list name. So print station. Now when I run it as, I'm getting an output like this. See, I am getting the output in these large brackets only. So basically what it tells that it is a list. Clear? Now, if we want to access any of the elements of this list, we use the same thing, that is indexing here. Now, let me tell you that in the strings, what we were doing that if we write this A, B, C here, so it was having individual indexes, that is 0, 1, 2. Now, this thing does not happen in a list. If you write something in these semicolons, this whole thing acts as a single index, and that will be the first index, that is 0. Now, this whole will be the first index. This whole will be the second index, this would be third, this would be fourth, and this would be fifth index. So here the individual indexes do not work. The write-up, or you can say the string which you have stored in these semicolons, that whole string acts as a first as your 0th index, and then we'll move on to the further indexes like that only. So if I'm printing stationery of 0, so what I will get output here is pen. So this is the thing which I got the output pen, because this pen whole is having the index 0. Clear? And if I write 1 here, let me write 1, and now if I run it, I will get the output as pencil here. Clear? Okay. So now we have seen these two functions. Now let me make one more list, and let me name it as digits. Okay. So this I had made in a list that is known digits, and I have stored some values in it, that is 2, 5, 9, 1, 6. Clear? Now, if I want to print this, it is very simple to print that. Use the print function and simply write the list name. So I got the list here. This is no much rocket science here. Now next, if I want to access any of the elements from this there is also the same thing only. Let's take it in this. Okay, so I made that list and numbers were 25916. I guess this was the list 25916. Okay. Now if I want to access its third element, so what I will do here is that this one will be the 0th, this is 1, this is 2, and this 1 is the third index, and this 6 is stored in the fourth index. So I will get the output here as 1 because 1 is stored in our third index. So now come this side and let's run print digits 3 and I will get the output here as 1. Clear? Done. Okay, now next comes that if you want to sort your list in the ascending order. So for what you will do that you will write a function that is sort. Sort means to arrange something in order. So here for sorting your list into ascending order we use the function that is known as sort and we write digits dot sort and in brackets and after that I will print the digits. Now my real list is 25916. Now when I will use this function and again see my list, I will get the output in that this whole string is arranged in the ascending order and what I will get here is that 1, 2, 5, 6, 9. My real string was 25916 and I got the sorted list which is in the ascending order after using the sort function. Now, if I want to reverse my whole string, so what I will do here is that I will use the function digit.reverse and then in bracket I will use print digits. Now, this my whole of the string is reversed 25916. So what my real string was, my real list was 25916 and in the output what I got is that 61952. So my whole of the string is reversed here. So this is the method to reverse your list. Okay, so I'm sorry wherever I had said the list as a string. I don't know why am I saying again and again string here. So please do not mention that. Wherever I had used a string word, it means that I'm using the list. I wanted to tell you about the list thing in this list function only. Clear? Now, if I want to access some of the elements of my list, that is, as I told you there, that we can also access some of the elements of that list also. So here what I will get is that 1:4. Now 1:4, as I told you, in the string thing also, in the string slicing, I told you about this one. So I don't think so that this would have any doubt here that it will start from the first index and will go on to the third index. So the final output which I will get here is that 591. Clear? Okay. Now let me move down and okay. So let me comment these two things. Clear? Okay, so for finding the length of the digits, it is simple. You all must be knowing that we have already discussed. Now, whatever was my list, if I want to find that what is the maximum digit which is present in my list. So my list was 25916. So in this, the maximum digit is 9. So if I want to find the maximum digit, I use a function that is max. And in bracket, I am using the name of our list, that is digit. So now when I will run this function, I will get the output as 9, which is the largest number in my list. And same for the minimum, that if you want to find the minimum number in your list, then what you will do, you will use the min function and then run it. I will get the output as 1 here because 1 is the minimum element in my list. Now, here comes that if you want to add any number in your list, let's say your list was, what was the list? Your list was 25916. Now you want to add one number in at the last of your list. So what you will do here is that you will use a function that is digits.append and this append function will add this number at the last of your list, and after that what you will do is that you will print your list. So now the what output will you get here is that 25916, and after 6 you will get 13 also, because you have used the append function here. So clear? Here we have got the list 25916, and the number which we have added in our list, that is 3, we also got that. So the use of append function is to add the number in the last. Clear? Print digits, dot, insert. Okay. Now, hold on. These all are the similar things. Now, if I want to remove any of the numbers from my list, so for that, what I will do here is that I will do digits dot remove, and in bracket I will write that number which I want to remove from my list, and then I will print the digits. That is my list, and see, my older list was 259163, and my final list, when I removed my second two number from my list, that I am getting is 59163. So here my two number is removed from my list, and the final list I am getting is 59163. So basically these were the functions which we have seen in the list, and these are the things which you can do. You can perform these functions on the list. Now comes here our last topic for the today's video is tuples. So basically tuple is another data type. List was one of the data types. Now tuple is another data type. Now, this tuple and list, they both are same, but what is the difference in that? So basically the difference in tuple and list is that list is mutable and tuples are immutable. Now, let me tell you the meaning of mutable and immutable. Let's go to OneNote and let's go a little down the side. Okay, so let me write here mutable and immutable. So mutable are the things that can change, and immutable are the things that cannot change. So basically we have seen in list, we have performed many of the functions in which we can remove any element, we can add any of the elements, but we can't do these things in a tuple, because tuples are immutable functions. So basically this is the most important difference between list and tuple, that lists are mutable, tuples are immutable. In list you can add any number, you can remove any number, you can perform all these functions, but tuple do not allow these functions, and if you are going to do all these functions it will give you an error, because tuples are immutable. Clear? Now let's move to a PyCharm IDE, and here it is how we define the tuple. I write tuple which is equal to, and we denote tuple in these small brackets. We were denoting list in the braces, like you can say large brackets, and in tuple we describe it as in the small brackets, and inside this I have written a tuple, that is 1 2 3 4 5. Now if I want to print it, it is just simple as the list one. I will simply write print tuple and I will run it. So it is, okay, just a second, this upper one 1 2 3 4 5. Clear? Now if I want to find the length, it is also that simple. And now if I want to find the starting index, the starting index is the 0 and -2. So now let's run this and see what output did I get here is 1 2 3. So now 1 2 3 why, let me explain you here. Okay, so my tuple was 1 2 3 4 5. So if I start from here, its index, let me change the color for index. Its index will be 0 1 2 3 4. Clear? And if I start from here, its index will be -1 -2 -3 -4 -5. So what I wrote there was blank and is to -2. So this blank will contain the 0th index. It will start from 0 and go up to -2. So what I will get the output as 1, 2, 3. Clear? We have already discussed all these things in the strings in very detail. So this must not create any problem here. So I'm getting the output as C, this 1, 2, 3. Now, here comes that if we want to swap two numbers. Now, swapping means to interchanging of two numbers. Okay, let me explain it here only. Downside a little. Okay, let's say I have A is equal to 4 and B is equal to 6. I have two variables A and B, and I have stored the value 4 in A variable and I have stored the value 6 in B variable. Clear? Now, if I want to interchange both of these and I want that in A 6 should be there and in B I should store 4. So now this is basically what is called as swapping, to swap the numbers, to interchange the numbers. So now here if I want to swap two numbers, so what I will do here is that for Python I am telling that I will take these two variables, A is equal to 4, B is equal to 6. Then I will write A comma B is equal to B comma A. Now here what happens is that the value of A will go into B and the value of B will go into A, and I will get final output that will be the swap number. So now let me tell you how that here I had written A comma B which is equal to B comma A. This A comma B will this A will point towards B because A is here and I had written B here. So whatever value will be stored in A, it will go to B. And when this B and A, so whatever value will be stored in this B will go towards the A, and what I will get in the final, if I have stored A is equal to 4 and B is equal to 6, so here what I will get as the output is A is equal to 6 and B is equal to 4. So this is how we do swapping in Python. Swapping means to interchange the two numbers. Now let's move to that PyCharm IDE. Now this is the basic concept that we use in other languages like C and C++ for swapping of the two numbers. So basically this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines of code, and in Python we do the same thing in basically you can say 4 lines of code. So this is how we do swapping in Python. So I have taken A is equal to 1, B is equal to 2. Now here what I had done is that I had swapped the two numbers, that is A comma B is equal to B comma A, and after that I had print A comma B. So what happens here is that the value of A will go into B and the value of B will go into A. Now let me run it, and the output which I got here is 2 comma 1. So basically this is the thing which I wanted to tell you, that we have entered A is equal to 1, B is equal to 2, and then after swapping when we print A comma B we are getting the reverse, that is 2 comma 1. And elif condition. Then we'll move on to for loop, while loop, shorthand if else, and let's see do we cover functions and docstrings or not. So basically without wasting time, let me take you to this PyCharm IDE. So this is the PyCharm IDE in which we write codes and we run that, we make projects and all that things. So firstly let me tell you that in the last video we have discussed about the lists and tuples. So basically lists were denoted by the large brackets. Let me take you to one note, and what I discussed was that these brackets are used for the list, right? If you remember and if you have watched that video. And after that these small brackets were used to denote the tuples, okay? So these two are the main things about the list and tuples, about the, you can say, denotion of list and tuples. And after that let's say I wrote this curly braces. So this curly braces, it's for dictionary, DICTIONARIES. So basically dictionaries which are the third data type which we study, which we are going to study. These are the dictionaries, and they are always written inside the curly braces. So this is the basic difference which differentiates between list, tuples, and dictionaries. And I also told you about the mutable and immutable concept, and now today I'm not going to revise that. And if you want to see that mutable and immutable concept, then you can refer to my previous video that is given in the description. You can even check that. Okay, so now let's start writing about the code. And let's say I wrote this d1, and simply what I did, that d1 is equal to this curly braces. Okay, and after this curly braces, this I told you that these curly braces are the denotation for dictionaries. So as I write this d1 is equal to these curly braces, after that when I'm going to print the type of d1, let's run, and it is going to give me the type as dictionary. That is, you can say dict. Okay. So here I got the answer, that is class dict. Now, let's see that how do we write a dictionary. So for writing a dictionary, we have this process. Like let's say I made a variable that is d2. Okay. And after making this variable d2, I use this curly braces which we use for writing dictionaries. And after that, what I'm going to do, that in dictionary there are two things, that is the key and the, you can say, value or element. So this basically the one which is written on the left hand side of the colon is the key, right? And the things and the like string whichever is written on the right hand side of the colon, they are, you can say, they are known as values, or you can even name this as elements. Okay, so here I had taken our name Mira, and let's say Mira eats noodles. Okay, so in this Mira is the key and this noodles are the elements. As I told you that the things written on the left hand side are the keys, and things written on right side of the colon are the elements, or you can say values. Okay, then after that I separated using a comma, and then I wrote Ria. Let's say Ria eats burger. Okay, and after that let's say Priya drinks coffee. So this was the list. Okay, and after that I had taken some more topics, and let's say Muskan. Okay, now Muskan wants to spend her weekend like shopping and going to movie and enjoying. So I made this value, this key as Muskan, and after that I made a separate dictionary for Muskan. Let's say in the separate dictionary on Monday, Muskan wants to go for shopping. So for that, what I wrote is that M and then shopping. Okay. After that, let's say Muskan on Tuesday, Muskan wants to go for movie. So I write T and then movie. And let's say on Wednesday, Muskan wants to go for picnic. So what I wrote, that W and let's say this picnic. So here I wanted to tell you that we can even make a dictionary inside a dictionary. Okay, so what I did, I made a different and a separate dictionary for Muskan. Now this is how we write and this is how we declare a dictionary. And after that, when I'm going to print d2, the output which I'm going to get is my whole dictionary, and let me exceed it. Okay, so like Mira noodles, Ria burger, and all that things which we have written. And for Muskan, I got a separate dictionary, that is Monday shopping, Tuesday movie, Wednesday picnic, and all that things. Okay, so this is how we write a dictionary, and this is how we print a dictionary. And now let's say I want to access any element of my dictionary. Let's say I want the element which is stored in Ria. Okay, so for Ria, Ria is the key and the element which is stored in Ria is burger, right? So when I'm going to run my program, I would be getting the output as burger. Okay, so this is the way how we, you can say, how we access a value from a key. Like I wrote print d2, d2 is my dictionary name, and in bracket I wrote Ria. So the value, or you can say element, which is associated with Ria, I will get the output here as that. So what I got, the output was burger. Okay. Now, let's say I want to access that Muskan dictionary, because I had made this Muskan, given a Muskan a different dictionary. Okay, So let's say I want to access this. So for that, what I'm going to write is print, and in brackets I'm going to write my dictionary name. After that, I'm going to write the key. Okay, the main key, that is Muskan, that is the name. Okay, and then in the separate braces I'm going to write that in this Muskan, which key I want to access. Let's say I want to access Wednesday. Okay, so for Wednesday, now here I'm going to get the output as picnic. And let's say I'm only going to write this W, I'm not writing Muskan here. So how it will get that, from where I need to take that W? Because I have made a separate dictionary for Muskan. So for that, if I want to access any element from this dictionary, that is Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, so I would be needing this Muskan name also in the print statement. Okay, so now when I'm going to run it, I'm getting the output as picnic. I hope this must be clear to you that how do we access this, you can say, dictionary. Okay, now just let me comment this out. Fine. Now let's say I was making my dictionary and in that I forgot to enter a name. I forgot to enter one name. That was Simran. So now what is the way for adding this Simran into our dictionary? So the way is that firstly we need to write our dictionary name, that is D2, and then in brackets I need to write the name which I forget. Okay. So it is like I wrote my dictionary name, that is D2, and in brackets I wrote Simran and I assigned it a value as South Indian. Let's say that Simran eats South Indian. Okay. So this is the way how we add an element to our dictionary. Okay. So now when I'm going to run this my D2 dictionary, I would be getting this Simran also. You can see it here. Okay, let me zoom it and hold on, let me take it the side. So this is Simran and this is the South Indian. Okay, so this one new element has been added to our dictionary, that is D2. So this is how we add an element into our dictionary. So I hope I made all these things clear to you. And now let's say I added that same Simran. Okay, and now I want to delete that. For that, what I'm going to write is del. Del is for deleting that element. And del, then I'm going to write my dictionary name, that is D2, and in brackets I'm going to write that name whatever I want to delete. So let's say I want to delete Simran. So what I wrote is that del is for deleting, then my dictionary name, that is D2, and in brackets I wrote Simran. And after that, when I'm going to print my dictionary, that is D2, okay. So here what's the error? Okay, let me hold on, let me uncomment all these. Okay, fine. Now let's run this and see what I got. The output is that I got Mira, I got Ria, then I got Priya the side, then I got Muskan also, and at Muskan this dictionary ended. I did not got Simran here. Why? Because I used this, you can say, the syntax, that is del and D2 Simran. So it deleted this Simran element from my dictionary and printed the whole dictionary like that only after deleting this Simran. Right? Okay. So now let's say I stored, hold on, let me comment and comment. Okay. Now let's say I wrote D3 is equal to D2 and D3 is equal to D2 dot copy. Now I'm copying my whole list, that is D2, into D3. So what I wrote for that is D3 is equal to D2 dot copy. Okay, I use the copy function here. And after that, when I'm going to print my D2, I'm going to get the whole, like you can see this upper one. I have not commented the upper side. Hold on, let me do that. Okay, so where's my cursor? Right. Okay, let me comment that out. And here what I did, I had copied the whole D2, that is my dictionary, into D3. And now when I'm going to print it, I'm going to get the desired output, that is my dictionary. Okay. Now, let's say I write print d2 dot get Mira, and when I'm going to run this d2 dot get Mira, what I'm going to get is noodles, right? So, okay, let me tell you how. See this dictionary, that is D2. in Mira, what I stored was noodles, right? So when I'm going to write that print d2 dot get Mira, so whatever element or you can say whatever value is stored in Mira, I'm going to get that output. That is noodles this side, okay? And now, okay, I have printed that whatever the element or you can say value is there with Mira, I got that as the output, which was noodles. And now if I want to update that noodles to chocolate, so what I'm going to write is that d2 dot update, and in braces I'm going to write Mira, the name for which I want to update, that is my key, and after that I'm going to write the updated value. So basically previously in Mira I have stored noodles this side, right? And when I'm going to update this Mira, update this noodles from chocolate, so I'm going to write d2 dot update. Now here I'm going to use my update function, okay? So I wrote d2 dot update, and in braces I wrote my key, that is Mira, and the changed element which I want to update is the chocolate, okay? And finally, when I'm going to run that D2, and let me comment the above one. Hold on. Okay. So see, in Mira, what I got is chocolate, right? So this is how we update. If you want to update any element of your dictionary, so this is how you do that. Okay. Now, Uh, okay, now the last thing for dictionary comes is that if you want to print the keys of your dictionary. So I told you about the keys, that keys are the names which I was taking, like keys are Mira, Ria, Priya, Muskan, and all these things. So what I told about the keys was keys are the things which are written in the left hand side of the colon. So here when I'm going to access this, print d2 dot keys, and when I'm going to run it, I'm going to get all the names. See, it is saying that dictionary keys, dict keys, that is dictionary keys are Mira, Ria, Priya, and Muskan. So I hope you got the point about the dictionaries, that how we perform, you can say perform functions on dictionaries, how we declare dictionaries, how we access the elements of dictionaries, how we update any element, how we delete any element, and all these stuffs which I told you. Okay, so if this is here, we completed our dictionary. Now I'm taking you to if else and elif conditions, and yeah, I know you all must be familiar with all these conditions, but let me take you to them, and let me comment this out. After that, what I am going to do is that, okay, so here what I did is that I had taken two variables, that is var1 and var2. Then what I did is that I stored a value 1 in my var1 and value 2 in my var2. So this thing must be clear to you all, as we are seeing these things and studying these things since the starting of all the lectures. So this is the thing which must be clear to you. Okay, so and after that I had taken a third variable also. Okay, and for this is the way of taking the input from user. Okay, so let me write a message also, that enter, okay, enter the third number, and let me put a colon for, like you can say, for looking nice. Okay, so now here I had taken another variable, that is var3, and I have taken the integer input from the user. And how do I guess that I had taken integer input? So this is the thing which tells me int, that I have taken an integer input from the user. And if I had written here float, so that means the user has to give float input, okay? Float means decimal values. And if I haven't written anything here, so it means that you are asking the user for the string value, right? Okay, so here I have declared three variables, var1, var2, var3, and assigned the values to it. And now I'm going to use some if and else conditions. So basically if and else conditions are here, like I wrote if I want that if var3, that is the value which is in var3 is greater than the value in var2, then print me greater. Okay, and after that else. Okay, else print lesser. So if my condition, that is var3, is greater than var2, if my condition satisfies, then I'm going to get the output as greater here. And if my condition does not satisfy, so this loop will go to else, and in else what I have print is lesser, so it will print me the output as lesser. I hope you got the point that how we use if and else conditions. Let's say I have these three numbers and I want to check that if var3 is greater than var2, and that means if the value which is stored in variable 3 is greater than the value stored in var2, then print me greater. And if this condition satisfies, this first condition, that is for the if this condition satisfies, then I'm going to get the output that is greater, right? And if this condition does not satisfy, then I'm going to get the output that is lesser. Now, I hope if you have listened my words very clearly, and you can say if you are paying total attention towards the words what I am saying, then you must have got the whole and the proper idea about the if and else condition. So now when I'm going to run my program, let's check these outputs and let me zoom it. So it is directly asking me to enter the third number. Why? Because I have already entered the variable 1 and the variable 2. Okay, so this time I'm going to enter the greater value. So I'm going to enter 3 here, and when I'm going to enter, it is going to give me the output that is greater. And why it is going to give me the output greater? Because in my if condition I have said if the value which is stored in var3 is greater than var2, then give me the output as greater. So here I input the value that is 1 in var2, and I store the value 2 that is in var2. Then I ask the user for the input, and then I entered the value for the third number as 3. And yeah, this is obviously true that 3 is always greater than 2. So you can say that there is no dilemma in saying that variable 3, that the 3 is greater than 2. So I'm going to get the output here as greater. And let's one more runs this program run, and now I'm going to give a smaller value to variable 3. Okay, so now here I'm going to input the value as, let's say, 1. So now let me take a upside, and now I'm going to get the output that is lesser. Why? Because I entered the first condition that if my var3 is greater than var2. So this condition doesn't satisfy here because 1 isn't greater than 2, right? So here it will go to else condition, and the print statement, whatever it will get in else, it will print me that output. So here I have written lesser, so I am getting the output as lesser here. So I hope you got the point about the if and else condition. Now let's say if in my this program only I want to check that if variable 2 and variable 3 have equal values, then print me that they are equal. So now here comes the role of the elif conditions. So how we write elif, it is something like we write el, and after that we write if. Okay, so the ones who have studied C and C++, they must be knowing it in a form like else if condition. So in Python we use it L like elif, we don't use else if, we use L if. So it is basically elif, and after that I had given this condition that if my variable 3, like the value which is in variable 3 is equal to the value which is in variable 2, then print me equal. Okay, so now when I'm going to run this program, so like in my variable 2 I have stored the value as 2. So now in my third variable also I'm going to give the value as 2, and when I run it I'm getting the output that is equal. So like because 2 is equal to 2, so that's this condition satisfies here, and I got the output as equal. So I hope you have got a proper idea about the use of if, else and elif conditions, that how we use these conditions and what's the role of these conditions. Okay. Now let me take you to a little bit. Okay, let me comment all these things once and let's see an example using in the list. Okay. So here what I have done is that I have taken a list. Okay. So I have given it a name as list 1, and then I have stored these 1, 4 and 7, these 3 elements in my list. And at the starting of this lecture only I have told you that how we declare a list. So we use these large brackets to write a list, or you can say to declare a list. Okay. So I have written a list 1 and given it a value of 147. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to write my if condition if 15 in list 1. Okay, hold on. Okay, so if I return that if 15 in list 1. Okay, first let me write a number that is there in my list. So if I wrote if 1 in list 1, then print me yes, it's in the list. And if 1 not in list 1, print no, it's not in the list. Okay. So here what I have done, I had taken a number from my list and I asked if 1 in list 1, then print me that yes, it's in the list. And if 1 not in list 1, then print no, it's not in the list. Okay, so now when I'm going to run this, I'm going to get the output yes, it's in the list. Why? Because you see this list, that is list 1 which I have written, and here I have given 3 elements, and these 3 elements, in these 3 elements 1 is also an element, right? So when it satisfies the condition that yes, 1 is in your list 1, so it is going to give you the output yes, it's in the list. And let's say I'm going to write a number that is not present in this list. Okay, so I wrote 2, and now when I'm going to run this, it's going to give me the output that no, it's not in the list. Why? Because it first goes to this condition, this if condition. If 2 in list 1, it checks that is 2 there in the list 1. But no, 2 isn't there in this list 1. So it goes to another condition that if 2 not in list 1, then print no, it's not in the list. So it simply print me the output that is no, it's not in the list. Okay. So this is how we check the elements of a list, that are these elements present in list or not, using the if condition. So I hope I made all these if, else and elif conditions clear to you, that how we use them and what is the way to write the syntax and what is the way to write the code. Okay. Now I'm taking you to for loop. Okay, so let's zoom it a little. Fine. Now, okay, hold on. Let me just uncomment all these things. Okay, what I'm going to do is this for loop. Fine. Okay. So here, what I had done is that we are discussing about the for loops, right? Okay. So what I have done is that I have made a list 1. Okay, named it as list 1, and I have given these 3 names inside this. That is Lina, Mira, and Samira. Okay. I have made a list and I had used this large bracket, so it is a list, and I have given 3 names here, that is Lina, Mira and Samira. Now if I want to access every element of my list, okay, so far what we have seen that in the list topic, that if we want to access the elements of our list, simply we were writing, hold on, let me write it here only. Simply we were writing print list 1, okay, and we were running our program, and what output were we getting? So we were getting this whole output, like this whole thing, that is these braces, and after that in the middle we were getting these Lina, Mira and Samira, all the 3 names. And now when I'm going to access all the elements of all the items of my list 1, so what's the way? Here we are going to use the for loop, and for using that, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to write for, and these all are the items of our list, right? So I'm going to write for item in list 1, okay, for item in list 1. So list 1 is my list name which I have written here. Then I put a colon, and after that when I entered, I automatically get this space. So this is called the indentation, okay? And whenever you are not giving this space, say I wrote it like this, okay, and when I'm going to write this, I'm going to get an error, that is indentation error. Okay, let me show you only this thing. See, what I got here is the indentation error, expected an indented block. So this is how we make mistakes, and you need to take care of all these things using writing your programs. Okay, so here we give the indentation of 4 spaces. Okay, so now here what I wrote is for item in list 1, print item. Okay, so I'm going to print all the items which are present in my list, but see the difference, that what's going to be the difference here. Okay, so what I did here is anything. Okay, I'm so sorry, just let's hold on and let me. Okay, done. So now I'm going to run this once more and see what's the output I got here as Lina, Mira and Samira. Okay, and this, and when I'm going to uncomment this print list 1 also, and now I'm going to run both the things. So now see the difference. This, when I'm going to print list 1, okay, which we have learned in the list topic, that how to print that list. So how I'm getting the output is these braces, and in brackets I'm going to get the items, that is Lina, Mira and Samira. And when I used my for loop for item in list 1, print list 1, then I'm getting every name in a single line. Like once in a one line I'm going to get Lina, in another line Mira, and in a third line I'm going to get Samira. So I hope you got the difference for printing the list, only list, and you after using the for loop and then printing our list. So here just keep one thing in mind, that when you want to print this list 1, then simply you need to write print list 1, and when you want to only print the items which are present in your list, so like I wrote for item in list 1, then I need to print item here. Okay, item, not the list 1. Okay, so just let me comment this out, and I hope I gave you a basic idea for using the for loops. Okay, now let's move to forward, and here what I had done is that I have taken one more list, that is list 1, and now these are the things that you can say the curly braces, the donation. And now what I did is that I made a list inside a list. Okay, so this Lina comma 5, this is also a list because I have separated it using these large braces. Okay, so this is also a list, and now what here I have made is a list inside a list. So these braces which are the outside, only at the outside, these are the first list, and inside this and this Mira comma 2 and this Samira comma 10, these are the other list. So this is known as making a list inside a list. Okay, so now when I wrote Lina, and let's say Lina eats 5 chocolates. So for that I'm not going to put any colon here, right, as we were putting in the dictionaries. So that is a way of defining a dictionary. And if I want to add any element in my list also, then what I'm going to write is I'm going to write the name, and then I'm going to put the comma, and then I'm going to write the value. Okay, so this is, let's say Lina eats 5 chocolates, and let's say Mira eats 2 chocolates, and let's say Samira eats 10 chocolates. So I made a list for that, and now when I'm going to access this using the for loop, so how do I need to access is that I need to use this for, and after that I need to write item. Item are the names, that is Lina, Mira and Samira, and after that I'm going to write the chocolate. So this chocolates is basically point to the integer numbers that I have written in my list, that is 5, 2 and 10. Okay, so the whole line is like for item comma chocolates in list 1, and then I put this colon, and then what I write is that print, and in braces I wrote item comma chocolate. So now here in the previous example I only told you how to access the item from a list, And in this example, I'm telling you how to access the item as well as the value from a list. So this is the way for writing, like for item comma chocolates in list 1, please print item comma chocolates, and when I'm going to run it, see the output. What I got is Lena 5, Mira 2 and Samira 10. So this output says that Lena eats 5 chocolates, Mira eats 2 chocolates and Samira eats 10 chocolates. Okay, so this is how we use the for loop in our programs. Okay, so I explained this for loop, and if you have listened all my words very clearly, then you are not going to face any of the errors in this for loop also. Okay, now after discussing about the for loops, let's move to while loop. And yeah, this while loop is a very, you can say, very easy topic and very small topic. So let's say I want to print all the numbers from let's say from 0 till 45. Okay, right. So what I did here is that I had taken a variable that is a and assigned it a value as 0. Okay, and just hold on, let me rough this right. See, a is equal to 0, and after that when I'm going to use this condition, now here I'm going to give a condition using my while loop that till the point the value which is stored in A is less than 45, just print me that value. Did you hear my words? Okay, let me repeat it. Like here I had given a condition for while that till the value which is stored in A is less than 45, then print me that value. So now what it is going to do, it is going to print me all the values from, you can say, from 0 till 44. Okay, so for and after that what I used, a is equal to a plus 1. So basically this is called the increment. Now here I am incrementing the a value, and let me show you how. Let me take you to the OneNote and hold on, let me take it down and let me take a little thinner pen. Okay, right. So what was the condition which we were writing? Like our condition was a is equal to 0, and then we were using our while loop, right? And in bracket I was using a less than 45, and what I was writing is the print a, and then I was doing a is equal to a plus 1. So now how's the working of this while loop? Like I had taken a value that is a. Okay, I have stored a value that is 0 in a. So now this 0 will go into my while loop, the a. Okay, now 0 is less than 45, right? So this condition will be true, and hold on, I'm going to tell you. Okay, so this 0 will go to a. Okay, now 0 is less than 45, this condition is true, so it is going to get inside this loop, and it is going to print me 0 from here. Okay, so now after that this 0 will go to here. Okay, and here it is that 0 plus 1. So now after that the value which is a, which is in a, is 1. So this 1 will go here. Okay, again here, right? And yes, the 1 is also less than 45. So from here, after that I am going to get 1. Now again it will come to this side, and now it will work like this, that a is equal to 1 plus 1. Now my value of a is updated to 2. Okay, and now it will again go to my while loop, that is here, and yes, 2 is also less than 45. So it is going to again print me the output, that is 2. So this is how my while loop is going to work, and it is going to print me like 0, 1, 2, and it is going to print me till 44. And when my condition 44 will come, let's say my a value is updated to 44, and okay, my a value is updated to 45. It has printed me the output as 44, and now my a value is updated to 45. Now my a value, the 45 value will go here, this side. Okay, and now it will check that is 45 less than 45? No, the condition is false here, okay? So it will not get the true condition, it will get a false condition, and my loop will stop and I will get the final output from 0 till 44. Okay, so this is how the while loop works. And now let me take it to PyCharm and now let me run it. Okay, so see, I got the output till 44 and okay, hold on. Let me zoom it and let me take you firstly to the upside. So it started from 0, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and it will still goes to 44. So this is how the while loop works and this is how the while loop functions. I hope this thing must be clear to you now. Okay, so this one, right. So now here in this video only I have told you about the if else and elif conditions. Now there is one more way to write this if else condition and that is called the shorthand if else. Okay. So now let me tell you how we write and let me after that I'm going to tell you that why we don't write this, why we don't use this in our program. Okay. So let's say I wanted to write a program here. See, if I wanted to write a program, if A is greater than B, then print greater, okay? And otherwise else print B is greater. So this was my program which I wanted to write, that if A is greater than B, print A is greater, else print B is greater. So how we are going to write this in the shorthand if else condition, like I'm going to take a variable that is A and ask the user for the input. Okay, so I'm asking the user for the integer input, that is I have written int here. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing for B also. I have taken a variable that is B and what I'm going to do is that I had written int, that is I'm going to take the user's input, that is integer value. Done. And now here I want to write my conditions for A and B. Like I want to write if A is greater than B, print A is greater. So there are two methods to write the same thing. Here, if I only want to write one condition, that is if A is greater than B. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to write if A is greater than B, colon, and after that I'm going to, in the same line, I'm going to write print, and in this semicolons I'm going to write A is greater, right? So this is the way how we write only and only if condition. So here I haven't used else because sometimes we need to use only and only if conditions. It is not necessary that wherever I have used if condition I should also use else. No, it's not necessary. Somewhere I would be using only and only if condition, but where I have used I can't use this else condition singly. Okay, for that else I need to write this if also. Okay, so now when I'm going to run it and I'm saying that enter a number A and let's say I entered 3. Okay, and now I'm going to enter a smaller number than 3, that is 2. So it is giving me the output that A is greater, right? So I hope you got the idea how to write this if condition in a shorthand like this. Now, if I want to write if and else both conditions in the shorthand if else like, so what I'm going to do is that firstly, I'm going to write my print statement for that condition, that if my condition is true. For that, I'm going to write my print line, print output, that is. So here I wrote if A greater than B, right? So this side I'm going to write the condition for that, this my condition, that is if greater than B satisfies, then I'm going to get this output. So here I wrote print A is greater than B and I wrote this if A greater than B, right? And besides this A greater than B condition, I wrote else, and then I wrote the second condition that if my this if condition is false, then it will come to my else and it will print me that B is greater than A. Okay, let me revise this once. Like I had written a condition if A greater than B. Okay, so if I when I am going to enter the numbers, if my this condition, that is a greater than b, is true, then it is going to give me this output. So in this line, what I wrote is print a is greater than b. Okay, and after that, this condition, that is a greater than b, I wrote else. Okay, and then in, if my if condition is going to be false, then my else condition is going to give the output, that is print b is greater than a. Okay, so in the previous, you can say, we were studying the previous topic, this if else condition. There I was writing the conditions like if a greater than b, then print a is greater, else print b is greater, right? So here I have done the same thing, print a is greater than b, and if a greater than b, else print b is greater. The only difference is that I have written all the things in a single line. So this is the name for the shorthand if else. Now let's once run this, and then I'm going to tell you disadvantage for this. Okay, so it is asking me to enter the number a, and firstly I'm going to make the if condition true, so I'm going to enter true. So now I'm getting the output that a is greater than b, and yes, it's true because 4 is greater than 2, right? And now I'm going to give the wrong outputs for the else condition output. Okay, so now I'm going to give the a, you can say a is smaller value. So let's say I wrote 3, and for b I'm going to give the larger value. So my if condition will not satisfy here because 3 isn't greater than 4, right? So I'm going to get the output that b is greater than a. So I hope I made this shorthand if else clear to you. And now I'm going to tell you that why we don't use, like, let's say you are working with a team. Okay, you are working on any project, and there you are going to write the if else conditions. Okay, you will writing a program in which you will need if else conditions. So if you are going to write the shorthand if else, so what's your thinking, that will 90% of your group members be able to understand that what have you written? No, they will not be able to understand because it's a very complicated thing, and basically it is not used anywhere. This is only the shorthand if it's like, if you want to write the whole condition in one line, then you can write, but I will never prefer you to write this, use the shorthand if else conditions, because we write a program in a way that everyone can read and everyone can understand that what code are we writing and what is the main motive of our code. But when you are going to write the shorthand if else condition, it is a bit complicated, and most of your friends or the ones who are working with you in the project are not going to understand this. So after that, if any one of your friends are not going to understand, and what's the use of writing it, right? So we never use the shorthand if else condition, but this was a topic in Python, so that's why I covered, and I don't want to leave any of the topics uncovered. So this is the only reason that I told you about the shorthand if else condition, but I will never say you to use these conditions. Okay, so this is here we completed our this lecture. So let me summarize that what we studied. Firstly, we studied about the dictionaries, that how we make dictionaries. Let me take you to the same slide only. So this is how we declare dictionaries in the curly braces. Then I told you how to print that dictionary. Then I told you how to access the elements of a dictionary. Okay. Then I told you how to add an element into your dictionary. Then I told you how to delete that element. Then we saw that how to get the you can say get the element of a key, and after that I told you how to update your elements, and at last I told you how to print the keys in of your dictionary. Okay, after that we have moved on to if else conditions, and this condition I told you about taking two variables, and the third was taking the input from the user. After that we had taken some conditions like if var3 is greater than var2, then print greater. Elif var3 is var2, print equal, else print lesser. So this was the if else and elif condition example which I had taken to explain you. And okay, then after that I had taken this list example also, in which I declared a list and I used this if condition that if 2 in list 1 print yes, it's in the list. If 2 not in list 1 print no, it's not in the list. So this is how we ended up with the if else and elif conditions. Then I had told you about the for loop, and in for loop I had taken one more list, that is list 1, and given the elements as Lina, Mira and Samira in this list. After that, using the for loop, we have accessed all the items of our list. Then what I have taken the same list and I had made a list inside a list in which I have given the number of chocolates these girls eat. So I said that let's say Lina eats 5 chocolates, Mira eats 2 and Samira eats 10 chocolates. So after that we had seen how to access the elements as well as the chocolates from our list. Okay. So this is how we studied for loop. Then I told you how the while loop works. We have taken an example like say let's say I had given a value 0 to a, and then I had put this while conditions, and this while condition was printing me the output till the value a is less than 45. So it was giving me the output from 0 till 44, and here I told you about the increment, and in one note I told you how this while loop works and what is the functioning of this while loop. After that we moved on to the shorthand if else. I told you how to simply use if condition in a short way and how to use if else condition in a short way, and I also told you why not to use this if else shorthand conditions.